Episode 417. The contact had been far too brief. That was the only regret in Chen Guo's heart. She really wanted to spend more time with Su Mucheng. Su Mucheng was no longer just a distant idol she could only see on TV or online. Now she felt like a good friend, someone you just wanted to get closer to. It's just a shame that after today, Chen Guo knew she wouldn't get another chance like this. Su Mucheng was a star. After all, while he was just an ordinary player, reality must be faced. As Chen Guo walked towards the competition stage, she felt a pang of helplessness. She couldn't help but glance back one last time at the spot where she had just been chatting with Su Mucheng. The show must go on. Once the 8 players had taken their positions on the competition stage, they began swiping their cards to log into their characters. The host had, of course, already asked about each player's character class and level. The problem was, Tang Ru's Soft Mist was only around level 40. Competing against a field of max-level characters was clearly unfair. Later, he took the initiative to suggest providing Tang Ru with a level 70 Battle Mage character. Tang Ru didn't dwell on it, accepting the offer with good grace. The 8 characters appeared one by one on the holographic projection of the arena, with the electronic screen giving each one a close-up. Then, completely without warning, when Chen Guo's Chasing Haze appeared in the close-up shot, a distinct ripple of commotion spread through the arena.
Chasing Haze? Is that the Chasing Haze?
Once the character appeared, murmurs began to ripple through the crowd.
Yes, that's the one. I remember this outfit.
Some people were quite certain that Chasing Haze's fame came entirely from that one battle Ye Shu fought against her and rounding the bank, Willows. Although Rowan Chuyang wasn't a particularly likable guy, he was a genuine celebrity and expert in the heavenly domain. To be instantly one-shot in the arena like that, it caused quite a stir in the online gaming community. The recording of that match held the top spot on the video charts for a very long time. Even now, it's never fallen out of the top 10. For every person who saw that video, that's another person who knows Chasing Haze. In the days right after the video went viral, Chen Guo was bombarded with friend requests every time she logged in to play. Her inbox was flooded with messages, all sorts of random nonsense. Chen Guo was thoroughly worn out by it all. She eventually just turned off the friend request feature and shut down her mailbox, which finally gave her some peace and quiet for a while. But the attention on the name Chasing Haze never really died down. When Chen Guo was gaming, countless people would inexplicably come up to strike up a conversation. And now, the Chasing Haze account had suddenly appeared in the All-Star Weekend's interactive event, which gave the live audience a little jolt of excitement. Chasing Haze was like a grassroots celebrity, with a remarkably broad and widespread fan base. The commotion she caused by appearing in this arena was no less than that of the 3 pro players. As for the other audience members, they basically just got a polite round of applause for encouragement. Of course, the organizers couldn't have predicted such a coincidence. Even among them, many had heard of Chasing Haze. After all, within the clubs, aside from the pro players who are part of the professional scene, everyone else who plays Glory just dabbles in the online game. They were, of course, well aware of all the hot topics in the online game. If they'd known such a coincidence was coming, the organizers would have naturally made the most of it. Only then did they react, along with the audience. Not much time had passed, and the high jump event was about to begin. On the holographic projection's ground, the 8 characters were now lined up in a row. Of the 8 characters, most had their heads tilted back, clearly raising their gaze to look at the floating footholds suspended in the air. This was the first time a high jump competition had ever been set up like this. Even veteran players who had participated in this event before knew this time was different. With the floating platforms and no mountain walls or other obstacles, the freedom of movement was far greater. That meant the competition was bound to be far more intense. None of the 8 hesitated for long. Seeing the characters were in position, the countdown began. Another starting pistol fired, and the match was officially on. The pro players had all used their handheld jumps to get onto the takeoff board. As an all-star player, Su Mucheng certainly didn't disgrace her status. She used a cannon jump to launch herself, and with just a few swift inputs, she was already a notch above the rest. But this high jump competition was clearly not as simple as the hurdles. With those, even if you were terrible, you could just hold down the forward key and your character would eventually make it to the finish line. And with the high jump, if a player doesn't have solid skills, it's perfectly normal to slip up and fall. Just like jumping the middle tower in Sin City before. Of the 4 spectators, 3 were doing pretty well. Only one was genuinely lacking in skill, falling off the platform after just a few jumps every time. With skills like his, he doesn't need anyone to sabotage him. He'll fail the race all on his own. Meanwhile, the pro players had already started competing. Just like during the hurdle race, they were too proud to target the audience, so they just fought amongst themselves. And in this kind of event, causing trouble is all too easy. One misstep, hit by a displacement skill, and it's all over. The high jump competition was far more difficult than the hurdles, a fact the pro players were well aware of. While the event is just for fun and winning isn't the point, constantly falling off the springboard would be downright embarrassing. The All-Star Weekend is being watched by a huge number of Glory fans. No pro player wants to be remembered that way. So anyone who dares to sign up for the high jump competition definitely has some serious skills in that area. In Glory, skill is multifaceted. It encompasses everything from mechanics and game sense to experience and reaction time. If you break it down, every player, every pro has their own strengths and weaknesses in each specific skill. While none of them were top-tier experts, if you judged purely on jumping technique, these few were absolutely first-rate. Su Mu Cheng was the fastest jumper, but the other 3 weren't far behind. After a while of jumping, they began to show off their unique skills. But these 4 were truly solid in their jumping skills. Even while sabotaging each other, they steadily climbed higher. Even if someone got knocked off, they wouldn't plummet all the way down. More often than not, they'd only drop a short distance before immediately finding a foothold on some platform, then continue their ascent. This high difficulty game instantly separated the professional level players from the ordinary ones. Tang Ru's entire skill set was built on raw APM, but this specialized challenge required judging distance, judging height, and then deciding the precise amount of force for each key press. Tang Ru had the APM, but she had to stop and carefully look, carefully judge with every single jump. By comparison, Chen Guo was actually faster than Tang Rou in making those judgments, which naturally gave her an overall speed advantage. Another player was also quite skilled, on par with the other 2, but the 4th member of their group was having a rough time. His technique in this area was just too weak. He stumbled and staggered through a few jumps, with no one pushing or touching him, yet he kept losing his footing and falling. In no time, he became the star of the show. His repeated tumbles sent waves of laughter through the arena. Even the commentators focused on him, at first cheering him on, but eventually, they too fell silent. This isn't something you can just cheer your way through. If your technique isn't up to par, you've got to practice. The whole crowd was laughing their guts out at this guy's pratfalls, and he was naturally burning with shame and fury. Of the other 7, the 4 pro players were already so high up they were hard to see. The remaining 3, at the audience level, had been left far behind, but at least they were steadily climbing.